All right. Let me see if I have everything ready here this time. I hope I do. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. We're all here. Oh, hold on. The over here is not a very nice presentation for the. Let me hide a little bit of my background here, and you guys can see my desktop well. There's nothing that you guys should not see. Let me see. Oh, good. No secret here on my desktop that you guys can see it. I think I closed everything. All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming today. We are here first Tuesday of November on our famous Ruby Tuesday. Today is KL 102, and our meetup is brought to you by Engineers Mind and Ruby Malaysian Group. Today's venue and food is sponsored by our friends from Surya Labs. And we have a supporter this month with Forkwell by Groves. And I will let them give a little bit of a shout out for that. So I'm going to invite Diamond here to the deck to talk a little bit about Surya. Yeah, so you're live on the stream for the whole internet. So just,
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Aiman and my fellow colleague Lucas here. We are from Surya Labs. We do web app and mobile app development, and we've been very strong advocates for Ruby for a very long time. And currently, we're starting to host more events, hoping to host more events. And this is this will be our first meetup. But if any of you have any ideas for any future meetups or people that you know of that do organize meetups and wants to have a place where they might want to host it, might want to have people to bring food and drinks, please let me know. You can contact me after this. And also just a shout out, we are also hiring Ruby developers. So if you are interested, you just note down your name and number on the table below, or you can contact me on the meetup.
all right, I'm going to put my name there.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Arman. And let me make sure that the online stuff is good here. Yeah, it looks like it's good. All right, so now I'm going to call my friend Ruvina here to talk a little bit about Forkwell, a career discovery platform. So just stay around here so you get the camera from
Okay,
the.
sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Ravina Dhanaraj. I work for Forkwell, which is under Grooves. So, we're a Japanese company. We are headquartered in Tokyo, but our APAC office is in Malaysia. Basically, we work with software developers, data scientists, and even gaming developers. We have one of the largest software developer communities in Japan. So, we're expanding into Southeast Asia. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Mats. He's actually one of our advisors for Grooves. And it's cool enough as well. We've done a YouTube video with DHH as well. Yes. Yeah. So Forkwell basically is a platform that connects software developers to forward-thinking companies. We have opportunities in Japan if you're interested. Your eyes are like super big. You're like, what? Yeah. So Japan, Australia, and Singapore, and of course Malaysia. We do believe that you guys are the builders and writers of the world's code. So please get in touch with me or one of my interns if you're interested in maybe a bigger opportunity. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Remind me to send me your resume.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right, everybody. So, note to self: remember to introduce myself. My name is Helio Cola. I'm one of the organizers of the Ruby KL meetup. And one reminder, mostly for the online folks, your profile name, your profile picture, and your comment may show up on the stream. So keep that in mind. And we abide by the Ruby Lang Code of Conduct, so make sure to act accordingly. And without further ado, so I'm here to talk today about an OSS tale or two. So that is what I prepared for you guys today. So let me kind of share my presentation here. I think it's going to be better if I share my whole desktop because I'm going to have to switch from the browser from my presentation to my browser. And let me see here. So what is this thing here? How can I hide that? Okay, went away. All right. So let me see if the stream is all good here. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay. All right. Let me hide this behind here. And there we go. And OSS Stable 2. My name is Helio Cola. I've been doing software development for 22 years and primarily Ruby on Rails for the past 12. So this talk is about open source software and open source contributions. It's about GitLab. GitLab. It's about security stuff and CVEs. It's about bundler audit. It's about URI, Sidekick, and Red Cloth gems. This talk is not about Hacktoberfest. That just ended, and I'm not going to be talking about that here today. So, GitLab. If you're around somewhere June 2023, you probably saw this screenshot here in a talk that I gave about Brakeman. Brakeman is a static analysis tool that can inspect your code and raise warnings for you to evaluate. So I gave a talk at the Ruby Malaysia meetup, and I ran Brakeman in a couple of open source repositories, and we looked at the reports. So on the left, you can see GitLab repo 2023 and now November, so in a couple months. So you can see that the code grew, there's more controllers, but there's less errors. I'm talking about some of these data here, comparing June with November. There's more models, but there's less security warnings. I'm talking specifically about these. It used to have 319, and now it has 301. But there are more warnings with high confidence. This red thing here is what the amount of security warnings in which the confidence of the warning is high. And there's more authentication warnings. You can see somewhere here. You went from 9 to 11. There's more SQL injection warnings. This is really interesting. This amount of SQL injection warnings, I mean, a lot of these can be false positives, but man, there gotta be one in there that I can do some damage. I can try to exploit, right? That's what security researchers do. They look into this stuff and they try to exploit it. And if they find an exploitation method, they report it, and the bugs get fixed, and all that kind of stuff. And there's way less unscoped find. That's an interesting number. It went down from 76 to 54. But anyway, GitLab Brakeman report, it's massive. There's way too much stuff. If I were to look into GitLab Brakeman report to try to do some OSS contributions, I would spend a lot of time going through these reports. There's too much stuff in there. And I'll probably need to get GitLab running on my machine, and it doesn't run on my Mac yet. Last week I got it running on my Ubuntu, but when I started the work that made me write this talk about a month ago, it took a couple weeks until I got GitLab running on my laptops. And also, my talk that got accepted at RubyConf Thailand was about passkeys, was not about Brakeman. So I did not have much interest in running to GitLab Brakeman report. So given I was not going to spend time looking at GitLab Brakeman report, my next course of action is bundler audit. Bundler audit is a tool that investigate your gem file and gem file lock and look for dependencies that have CVEs. So all right, that maybe is a good low-hanging fruit. I can run bundle audits, see if there is any dependency with CVE, and then I'm gonna send a contribution to the GitLab repo. And so, by the way, I use bundle audit also for, I don't know, 5-6 years. One of the tools that I use hooked up in CI. So when there's CVEs and dependencies that I use, read CI and I get a bunch of stuff. So I used that tool for a while. So I knew my way around it. So I noticed that GitLab does have that in the gem file. So I tried to run bundler audit check, update and check. And guess what? I got an exception. Site disallowed, like try to load an unspecified class date. Has any Rails Ruby developer here seen these error before? Okay, I've seen a couple times these, and if that link down there is so this is an issue that had with older versions of Ruby with new versions of SciGen, which is another thing that runs inside Ruby and does a bunch of stuff behind the scenes for you. So at some point, Psych started disallowing these things in YAML files, and then it took a while for a lot of other gems to pick up on that, to stop using those methods that were unsafe. So, but what was happening on GitLab is that GitLab was using the version of Bundler Audit 0701, and Bundler Audit 0701, it was before use the old psych. So it assumed that it was okay to load a series of classes in a YAML file, so it was failing. So here, when I realized that, the solution for solving that problem, it was just updating bundler audit from 07 to 09, to the latest one. And so, okay, all right, I think I found my first contribution to GitLab. I'm gonna update bundler audit, and then I'm gonna get it running. So my plan was this. It's a very basic, simple. Update gem file to the latest, run bundle install, commit, send push to GitLab, not GitHub, open an MR, and let CI run, right? So GitLab has an extensive CI pipeline. It takes, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. It takes a really long time. So I will update gem file, push it as a draft, and then let CI run and see if caught any problem. Bundler audit usually only looks at your gem file and gem file lock. So most likely it's very easy to, no other code in GitLab is using bundler audit, most likely. So these sound like a really easy thing for me to do, right? Really low-hanging fruit. And the result, it did not went according to plan. CI did not finish running. My GitLab account ran out of CI minutes. GitLab, like I said, GitLab CI pipeline is really extensive. And I didn't have that amount of free minutes on my free GitLab account, so it didn't work. And then I came to call these the GitLab way, right? So the typical open source workflow is you fork a repo, you make your changes in your own fork, and then you create PRs upstream to the original repo, right? But that's not how GitLab works. GitLab has and maintains a community fork. So you don't need to fork GitLab. There is a community fork maintained by GitLab, and all the CI minutes that runs over there, it's sponsored by GitLab. So you don't need to pay for that. And you open MRs, right? So if you're paying attention, it's MRs in merge requests, not PRs as in pull requests. And there is an interesting blog, if you check that out. And if you Google GitLab community forks, you're going to find the blog. There's a dozen reasons why GitLab does that. One of them is they think is like they want the community to have one place to work together. So people from different places can work in the same fork together and collaborate more. There's some interesting reading there in the blog post that I recommend you guys doing. So the GitLab way, right? So that was my first lesson. So the first MR was failing because it was on my fork. I didn't have enough minutes on my GitLab account. So I had to close it, and then I had to change to the community fork, and then I opened that MR to upgrade bundle audit, and that got merged. So let me see if I have that one here. So this is the one that got closed, and I run on my fork, and I think I have this one. That's the one that I updated bundle audit. Remember 0791, 091 on gem file, and then gem file log gets upgraded, updated, and then they have these checksum as well that I'm not going to talk much about it, but just get a checksum of the gems that you have for later verifications during bundle install maybe. All right, so bundle audit done. So now I can run bundle audit and inspect the gem file and find which gems has CVs. Oh, and by the way, when you do your first contribution to GitLab, they send you some free stuff. So maybe go check it out if you're into GitLab shirts or mugs or anything, or stickers. I don't know. They will send you some free stuff. But anyway, after I run bundle audit, these three gems got flagged: URI, Sidekick, and Redcloth. Those are the CV codes of each of the gem. Two of them are reDOS, and the other one is DOS, denial of service, right? So let me take a little side note here to talk about reDOS vulnerability. reDOS means regular expression denial of service. What this means is that depending on how you write your regular expression, I can craft a text that makes evaluating that regular expression takes all your CPU and lasts hours. So if you allow, if you run a regular expression and use input data, and if a regular expression has a vulnerability, this specific type of vulnerability is going to do a DOS on you. You're going to beat up your CPU of a web server, and then your web servers don't answer HTTP request and response anymore. They are busy doing regular expression evaluation. That screenshot is from the Redcloth gem, and the fix for this vulnerability is that single one character. The regular expression in red at the top is vulnerable, the one at the bottom is not. So this is a recheck playground. You can actually see what's going on. This is the regular expression from the Redcloth gem. And then when you put that in and evaluate, it even gives you an attack string, which use string that you can use to run your code and evaluate that. And it's really interesting. If you put this string here in Redcloth and you find the code around where that regular expression is, it's running, it makes your CPU, your laptop runs 100% CPU for like 25 seconds. It's really interesting stuff. I find it really interesting. So back to bundle audit. So URI. So let's look at the CVs, right? URI, CV 2023, whatever, the reDOS. The solution provided by, that's labeled by bundle audit, it's to update from 0.12.1 to 0.12.2. That's a minor update. It's like one minor update. Probably those changes there, I didn't review those changes in URI gem, but probably those changes are specifically only to address the CV. URI gem is used by everybody, so pretty much. So it's a minor version upgrade, might be the easiest one to update. Sidekick is a DOS vulnerability. The solution is upgrade from 6.5.7, which GitLab was running, to 7.1.3. So here is a major version upgrade, right? In Redcloth gem is like, the solution is remove or disable this gem until a patch is available. And I was like, okay, so which one I'm going to start? And what's Redcloth again? Has anybody heard about this gem? Redcloth? No, me neither, until a month ago. All right, my plan. URI. I'm going to start with URI. That's the easiest. It's just a minor version upgrade. Then I'm going to look into Sidekick. It is a major version upgrade, but Sidekick is a very mature software, very well maintained. If there is any problem, if there is any specific things that I need to do on a major version upgrade, it's probably going to be well documented. So this is going to be an interesting work to do. In red cloth, remove or disable. Again, I don't know what red cloth is about, but by the way, right now there is already a patch for red cloth. So don't open red cloth on GitHub there. So wait until tomorrow. So there is a version of red cloth that solves the CV. I'm not going to talk much about red cloth here today, more than just make some jokes here and there. All right, where I jam. That was my low-hanging fruit, the one I started with. It was indeed easy to upgrade. And I opened the AMI. It took like 2 days between creating the AMI and getting merged. But let's take a quick look on that code. The AMI is right here. One commit, right? 2 changes. Gem file lock and checksum. I don't even need to change gem file. Just bundle update where I, boom, goes from 1 to 2. And here's the interesting thing. This is a MR with 1 commit changing 1 dependence from minor version to a minor version upgrade. But there's 23 participants in this MR. 23. I'm right here, one of them. There is I'm not going to roll over all these guys here, but this is public information. If you go to GitLab and you find these guys, you can see all of them. But mostly, most of them here are security folks. They are AppSec developers, they are security researchers. So when you open these MRs that's related to security and CVs, all the GitLab security team gets tagged, and they all will take a look. In security MRs like these, they take precedence of other things. It automatically becomes a priority of all these guys to look at that, because this could be a big problem. This could be a big security vulnerability. They need to evaluate and make an assessment. The sooner the better. So that's why a tiny MR like these with 1 minor version upgrade gets so many eyeballs. And there is this interesting guy here. GitLab has a Depsaster bot. It's a security bot that does specific things. Anyway, that got merged, and it's about a month ago when I did that. And that is probably clear for production for a while now, or is already in production. So like I said, these security MRs, they have its own workflow, and it becomes priority from the security folks. They quickly look at it. If they don't already know what's going on behind the scenes, sometimes some security vulnerabilities comes into GitLab through a HackerOne. And then, so when it gets to this point here, the GitLab security team already know about this problem for, I don't know, a month. So URI is done, but bundler audit is done, URI done. Next on that, Sidekick. I don't actually remember when I was doing this work that was started maybe a month ago. So I don't remember if I looked at Sidekick or Red Cloth first. I probably did a little bit of research on what Red Cloth is about. I'd never heard about the gem. Sidekick, URI, I've heard about it a dozen times. But for the sake of this talk, let's talk about Sidekick. So Sidekick, remember, merger version upgrade, right? GitLab was running 6.5.7, which is not the latest on the 6X series. And later on, I realized why. But the solution for bundle audit is like, I need to upgrade to 7. So my plan, back to the plan, right? Update gem file, run bundle install, commit, push to the community fork, open a draft MR, and let CI run, right? The first thing that I want to do is let CI run. Let CI run and see if it catches problems, if some test fails. And then while CI run, I'm going to go look at Sidekick documentation. Like I said, Sidekick is a very mature software. It's very well maintained. And if there is any gotchas there that I need to do to upgrade from 6 to 7, I was confident that will be documented. So step 1, bundle install. Guess what happened? It obviously worked, right? Right out the gate. No, it didn't. Failed. Like bundle install failed. Okay. So GitLab used this gem called GitLab Sidekick Fetcher, which only supports Sidekick 6x. So, and this gem was introduced due to scalability concerns. I kind of went to, as part of this work, I went chasing down this gem and what it does and read a little bit. And I traced down some remarks where, of a couple of years ago, I don't remember exactly when, but it's not recent, that these it was built into GitLab to solve some Sidekick vulnerability, scalability issues. And this was behind a feature flag. So not everybody gets it. So maybe GitLab maybe GitLab has like a big enterprise customer that uses this gem, that they had some big enterprise customer that pays GitLab a buttload of money, had them do this to solve one weird problem that they have. I don't know. I only started looking at GitLab a month ago. So I didn't know, but I noticed there was behind a feature flag. If you read the code, you see that you enable and disable this gem through a feature flag. So GitLab Sidekick Fetcher. So to upgrade to Sidekick 7x, this is my summary, right? So it's like me, my thought process thinking, like, what do I have to do? What's going to be my plan to update Sidekick to 7 and get rid of the CVE, right? That's what was motivating this work that I was doing. It is a major version upgrade on Sidekick. I must remove Sidekick Fetcher. I end up creating an issue into these gem repos, like, hey, you guys need to support Sidekick 7. Sidekick 6 has a vulnerability and there is no patch on Sidekick 6. So GitLab Sidekick Fetcher, you must build support to 7 because otherwise GitLab is going to be vulnerable. And it's behind a feature flag, like I was saying, and it was introduced by scalability reasons. So probably lots of code change. I need to disable feature flag. There is probably, and I think I remember reading some documentation about how you build a feature flag in GitLab. So these massive repos has a ton of documentation, and for you to do one small little thing, you need to do a lot of work. So this is not going to be anything close to URI gem and bundler audit. There's risk of unexpected issues. This is a gem that solved some scalability issues. Most likely these edge cases you can cover in a CI. It's not easy to replicate in a CI. You need production, you need to have load to detect these scalability issues. So it would require extensive analysis by the GitLab team. I have no idea what this gem is about. Again, I never heard about GitLab Sidekick Fetcher before. By the way, it's an interesting thing. I suggest you guys read. But keep in mind that GitLab Sidekick Fetcher uses a reds command that has been deprecated. So don't spend too much time with this. And I had to ask a lot of questions to GitLab, like, hey guys, what is the history behind these things? What is this problem that you guys had with these? Is these a huge enterprise customer that uses, I don't know, Solaris OS? What is these about? Where these come from? And man, I'm a guy in the internet poking an open source repository. I'm not a GitLab employee. Like, hey, who are you, Helio? I don't know you. So GitLab developers, they're a big company, a big repo. They have like a million things to do. So Helio, who's that? I don't know the guy. So really, really long story short, I did remove that gem from the gem file. I did comment out the feature flag. I wanted to run CI. I pushed to a draft MR, and I let CI run, and I don't remember what happened. But but it's like, I spent too much time on these already. I have other things to do. So I'm going to do other things. And anyway, if this needs to happen, it's not going to be me knocking on the GitLab repository from community contribution. Oh, by the way, there's an interesting thing that I saw. When you, as a community person outside GitLab company, opens an MR, they flag with these. community contribution, so that they know that this is not coming from a GitLab employee, it's coming from the community. So that also takes specific steps that they need to take. So this is someone in the internet doing something, so maybe I don't trust or don't know him yet. There is some guys in GitHub GitLab that answer tons of my emails already, but I think they're getting tired of me already. But anyway, so I left these to the side. I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to merge these PIs. It's going to take forever. I need to give a talk next month to the Ruby Malaysia group, and I have other things I need to do. So I completely forgot about this. I left the PR there in draft. One of the GitLab employees was kind of like, hey, Helio, if you go and do this, remember to look at this tutorial or this documentation. There was someone like 5 days later, out of nowhere, found that MI and did that. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, one day. So one day, out of nowhere, I'm running bundle audit, doing my own work, doing my own stuff, nothing GitLab related. And I noticed there was a sidekick version of the 6X series that solved that CVE. And I was like, bam, it's minor version upgrade now. I don't need to mess with sidekick, reliable fetcher, sidekick, what is it? Sidekick fetcher. I don't need to open that Pandora box. I only need to upgrade to the latest 6X series. Man, that's perfect. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get back to that MR. So that's the link. And these got merged, but there's always a but, right? So the plan, again, basic plan, I'm going to update Gen 5. Now it's minor version upgrade. Sidekick fetcher is not going to bug me. Update Gen 5, bundle install. Now bundle install worked. It's on 6X series. I commit, push to the community fork, open a draft MR, and let CI run. Guess what happened? Oh, no, hold on. Before that, so if CI goes green, okay, there is no error, no test coverage on Sidekick. And GitLab uses extensively Sidekick. So if CI gets green, I'm going to say, GitLab bot ready. This is ready for the GitLab team to look at it. This is a minor version upgrade for a CVE. It's like, I've done enough. Now let the GitHub review the MR. If it's not green, then I need to spend more time. So guess what happened? Who you want to guess what happened? CI failed, or you ran through all the end with 0 errors? It failed. I was doing a minor version upgrade. It wasn't one version. We were going from it was going from 6.5.7, which GitLab was running. Remember, I told you that it wasn't the latest on the 6X series, but it wasn't too old. But it wasn't 6.5.11, it was 6.5.7, and I was upgraded to 6.5.12, and it failed. You see, my strategy was like, I'm going to let CI catch anything. And CI did catch it. There's 2 places in GitLab that you have a code like this. Basically, what this code does is, if you change Sidekick version on the GitLab repo, it fails CI automatically. I don't care. That's why. Then I realized, that's why it's still the 7. Nobody wants to do a minor version upgrade, because they're gonna have to do read some more code. Like, okay, all right. By the way, there's 2 places in GitLab that has a code very similar to this, with a little bit of different message. But like I said, what this does is this failed CI and force the developer to go look at these patches. And given GitLab, this one is like a Sidekick compiler. Given GitLab patches certain aspects of Sidekick, if you change version, I need to go and review those patches to see if they're still working, because they may have changed something in GitLab in Sidekick code that's now going to break this. So, and GitLab uses this strategy in a couple of different places, not only for Sidekick. So we failed that. So I had to go. These I kind of found interesting. And I went digging into these places. And I read a little bit more of Sidekick code. There is some documentation on these. Some of these files here, I don't have the whole file here, but there is link to MRs, to issues on Sidekick, to issues on GitLab that explains why this patch was built. And after I did all of that, okay, I can just update the version of that. So now my patch is going to be, if the version is 6.5.12, is different than 6.5.12, you need to go and you review this again. So I updated the two places where they 6.5.7 to 6.5.12, and CI runs successfully. And you go all the way to the end. There were still some discussions by the GitLab security team in the MR. And one of the guys like, hey, most likely we don't, one of the guys, I think he was a manager or director of security stuff. I don't remember. I may not remember exactly what his title, but he said something like this. Oh, he went to look into the CVE. He did a research on the CVE and looked at the Sidekick code. Like, oh, this is a DOS on Sidekick web dashboard. I doubt that we surfaced that code inside GitLab. He wrote that. And then another, it's like, okay, maybe there is a CVE here, but GitLab doesn't use the problematic code. So GitLab is not affected by CVE. Then one other developer there, like, no, we do use that. And then I went to Chase as well. I think this was the time that I got Sidekick running in one of my Ubuntu machines. And then Sidekick does load, GitLab does load the Sidekick web dashboard inside GitLab that has the vulnerability. So GitLab was exposed to this vulnerability, but the exploitation of the vulnerability requires a GitLab admin to patch the browser local storage and DOS themselves. Someone else wouldn't be able to do that. So it was GitLab was vulnerable, but it was really an edge case that an administrator, a GitLab account administrator, would have to really mess around. So, but there was that conversation, and there was discussion on the MR, and they're also discussing whether they need to backport these to previous versions of GitLab, and they decided not to. There was also some false positives in one of the internal security tools that they run on the code. That one of the developers that was reviewing the code from the GitLab security team saying, "Oh, that there is a false positive. That alert there that I don't have access because it's internal to some of these security checks. It's internal. It's not public to the whole world." He was saying, "Oh, that alert there, it's a false positive. That cannot happen. That's not going to affect." And there's 23 participants, all that security guys, CVE, and security MR, and so a lot of the security guys go check it out. But it was merged, and these will be released on GitLab v16.6 in November 10, 3 days from now. So I need to ask you guys to cross your fingers. So if me and all these GitLab developers missed something, I don't know, that day there, then they have some production issues. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, all right. So current stats: bundle audit done, URI jam done, Sidekick done. I mean, it was merged, still queued up for the next GitLab release. Red cloth. So next on deck, right? Red cloth. Again, what is this jam about? Has anyone heard about it? So red cloth, I just put this last slide, this last sentence. Red cloth is a Ruby library for converting textile into HTML. Text what? Textiles. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my OSS tale or two. You can read a little bit about all this stuff on that blog post that I wrote. I just published a few days ago. And if you have any questions or comments, I'll be more than happy to try to answer. Any question? Who here uses GitLab? Oh, cool. You guys use GitLab on CoinGecko? That's awesome. That's pretty cool. So if you have a problem on November 10, it's not my fault, okay? It's not me. All right, anything else? All right, thank you all, everybody, for your time and attention. And let me get back here to the slides. Okay, now we're gonna reach the end of our meetup today. I did not talk for 2 hours this time, did I? Don't think so. So parking lot is the next section of our meetup. Does anyone know what parking lot in a meetup is supposed to be about? Me neither. But anyway, I do. I actually do. So this is the section where you all can talk about anything that you guys are working on. So if there is anything that any of you guys are working on, you're more than happy to share. If you want to come over here and talk, you can. It's kind of like a lightning talk. So anybody want to share anything? Who here wants to RubyConf Thailand? Raise your hand. Who's going to RubyConf Thailand? Raise your hand. All right. Some hiring shoutouts. Oh, anybody? Okay, hiring shoutouts. Surya Labs is hiring. So our friend here, Ayman, already talked about it. They have a couple. They have one Ruby on Rails developer position and a couple others or other stacks. So you should check it out. Chip, which was one of our sponsors for the next meetup, the last meetup last month. They also have one junior developer role up. And CoinGecko has several openings, so I suggest you guys check that out as well. And with that out of the way, that's it, folks. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully see you all next month. All right, thank you. And let me now stop the broadcast. All right, bye-bye, everybody. See you guys.